Hello and welcome. How well do you really know the water you use every single day? From the water in your glass to the clouds up in the sky, it is literally everywhere. But how much do we really understand about it? Well, today we're going to find out. Welcome to the Great Water Quiz, where we're going to put your knowledge to the test. Let's dive in.
We've got 3 awesome rounds for you today. First up, we'll look at our daily water uses. Then we'll dive into why water is such a precious resource. And we'll wrap things up by exploring the absolutely incredible water cycle. Are you ready?
All right, it's time for round 1, our daily water uses. This round is all about the water we see, touch, and use from the moment we wake up. Let's kick it off with your very first question.
Okay, let's start with something we all do. Can you name 3 personal uses for water right in your own home? I'll give you a second to think. All right, what'd you come up with? Maybe drinking, cooking, bathing, washing your clothes, or even watering your plants. They're all huge parts of our daily lives, aren't they?
Okay, from our homes, let's head out to the farms. What are the 2 main things farmers use water for? They use it for irrigating crops and for giving water to their livestock. It sounds simple, but think about it. Without water in farming, we wouldn't have food on our tables. It's that important.
So we've covered homes and farms, but what about all the stuff we buy? How do factories use water? The answer is for 2 big things: cooling down heavy machinery and as a key ingredient in the production process itself. Water is kind of like the silent workhorse of so many industries.
We've covered a lot, but water's job is far from over. Besides homes and farms, can you think of 2 other really important uses for water? A couple of huge ones are generating electricity with hydropower, and also in mining, where it's used to process minerals. Water literally powers our world.
All right, get ready for a surprising one. Which single activity in your home uses a whopping 24% of your daily water? Any guesses? Believe it or not, it's flushing the toilet. It's kind of wild to think that one simple action uses up so much of our water.
Sticking with that theme, can you guess how much water an average adult uses at home every day? Think in liters. The answer is around 150 liters. That number is basically our personal water footprint, and it really shows just how much we rely on having that steady supply.
And that's the end of round 1. Great job! Now that we've seen just how much we use water, let's find out where it all comes from. Welcome to round 2, water, a precious resource.
First question of the round: what is the main difference between saltwater and freshwater? Well, saltwater is what you find in oceans, and it makes up almost all the water on Earth. But freshwater, the stuff in rivers and lakes, is that tiny, super precious fraction that we can actually drink and use to survive.
So we know freshwater is absolutely vital. Where can we find it out in nature? Name 2 natural spots. You can find it on the surface, in places like rivers, lakes, and streams, but also deep underground in these huge natural reservoirs we call aquifers.
Okay, let's think practically for a second. What are 2 simple ways you could store water at home if you needed to? Well, for short-term needs, you could just use buckets or pots. But for a more long-term solution, a big water tank is a really common way to go.
Time for a little geography. Do you happen to know the name of the largest dam in South Africa and the river that it's on? It's the Gariep Dam, and it's located on the Orange River. It is a massive piece of engineering, all designed to manage this precious resource.
So what does a giant dam like the Gariep actually do? Can you name 2 of its most important jobs? It does a few big things. It supplies water to major cities. It provides water for farms, and it even generates electricity. It's a true lifeline for the whole region.
Now, moving all that water is a huge challenge. There's an 80-kilometer-long tunnel that carries water from the Gariep Dam. What do you think that tunnel was called? It's simply called the Gariep Dam Tunnel. The name might be simple, but the project itself is an incredible feat of engineering.
Fantastic job! We've seen how we use water and how we manage it. Now it's time for our final round. Let's zoom out and look at the biggest picture of all with round 3, the incredible water cycle.
Let's start with the big one. In simple terms, what is the water cycle? It's the continuous movement of water between the air, the ground, and the sea. Think of it like a giant, never-ending recycling program that connects every single drop of water on our planet.
Every cycle needs an engine to get it going. What provides the energy that heats up all the water in our oceans and lakes, kicking this whole thing off? The answer is the sun. It's the giant engine that powers the entire water cycle on Earth. So, when the sun heats up water, it turns into a gas called water vapor and rises up into the air. What is this process called? It's called evaporation. This is the first super crucial step that lifts water up into the atmosphere.
Okay, as that water vapor gets higher, it starts to cool down and changes back into tiny little liquid droplets, which then form the clouds we see. What do we call this process? That's condensation. It's the magical step that turns invisible vapor into the big, fluffy clouds we see in the sky.
Eventually, those clouds get heavy enough that the water has to come back down. Can you name the 3 forms this return trip, also known as precipitation, can take? The 3 main forms are rain, snow, and hail. They're all just water coming back to Earth to continue its journey.
So, the water's back on the ground. What happens next to complete the cycle? It flows into streams and rivers, which then feed into lakes, and eventually it all makes its way back to the sea, ready to evaporate and start the whole cycle all over again.
Here is a mind-bending question to finish the round. How far do you think a single drop of water can travel during just one trip through the water cycle? The answer is pretty amazing. Hundreds or even thousands of kilometers. It's a powerful reminder of just how connected all of our world's water systems really are. And now, we've arrived at our final question. After everything we've just talked about, why is water considered such a precious resource? The answer is simple, but really powerful. It's because while our planet is covered in water, only a tiny fraction of it is the fresh water we actually need to survive. It's definitely something to remember every time you turn on the tap. Thanks for playing the Great Water Quiz.